Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at something pretty wild.
Yep.
Can AI actually tell what's, safe to see online?
Right.
Maybe even better than humans can. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine like AI filtering out all those harmful images on all the platforms we use, right? Keeping things safer without actually needing humans to like label every single thing.
It's a pretty fascinating concept, and there's actually some cutting-edge research
Yeah.
from a team at Meta,
Okay.
Rutgers, and a couple other institutions that's exploring this very idea.
Oh, wow.
They're looking at how we can train AI to act like a judge,
Okay.
making decisions about whether an image is safe based on a set of rules.
So it's almost like AI is learning to apply community guidelines, right? Like those no nudity or no violence rules that you see like everywhere online. But
Yeah.
those can be so subjective, right? What's safe for one person might not be for another.
That's actually one of the biggest challenges
Yeah.
that researchers highlight. Even humans have trouble agreeing on what's appropriate for everyone to see.
Right.
The research paper actually shows an example where people just straight up couldn't decide
Oh, wow.
if an image was okay for public viewing or not.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that would be a problem for AI too.
Right.
How do you even
It's tough.
begin to teach a computer something as like nuanced as that?
Well, the researchers are trying to make those safety guidelines as objective as possible.
Okay.
For instance, instead of a rule that just says,
Right.
no sexual content,
Mm-hmm.
they might rephrase it using measurable criteria, like, the visibility of certain body parts.
Okay.
They're essentially trying to break down these complex rules into something AI can understand.
That makes sense, but AI also seems to have trouble with really long and complicated rules.
Yeah,
They need to learn to read between the lines, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The researchers found that AI often misinterprets lengthy guidelines.
Oh, real?
And they even included a pretty funny example in their paper
Okay.
where the AI got the rule completely wrong.
Wow.
It's clear that AI needs some help
Yeah.
in the reading comprehension department.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so AI struggles with subjectivity
Mhm.
and complexity.
Yeah.
Are there any other big hurdles when it comes to teaching AI about safety?
The third challenge they talk about is bias,
Okay.
which is a big one.
Right.
See, just like humans,
Yeah.
AI can come with preconceived notions
Uh-huh.
that might lead to inaccurate judgments.
Okay.
There's an example in the paper where the AI flagged an image as unsafe because it saw blood on the ground,
Oh, wow.
even though the blood wasn't related to the actual rule it was supposed to be applying.
So AI can jump to conclusions too.
Yeah, seems like it.
That makes you wonder how they can be sure it's making like fair judgments based on the facts and not just its own preconceived ideas.
That's exactly what the researchers are trying to address.
Oh.
They've developed a pretty amazing multi-stage process to teach the AI judge.
Wow.
And each stage is designed to tackle these very challenges.
Okay, I'm all ears.
All right.
How does this AI training program actually work?
The first step is something they call relevance scanning.
Oh.
Imagine the AI has a whole list of safety rules to check against.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at every single rule for every single image would take forever.
Yeah.
So they use this technique called CLIP image analysis
Okay.
to quickly figure out if a rule is even relevant to the image in the first place.
So it's like a quick scan to see if a rule even applies
Exactly.
before diving into the details.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Exactly.
What's next?
Next, they tackle the problem of complexity
Okay.
with something called precondition chains.
Precondition chains.
Remember how AI struggles with those long, complicated rules?
Yeah.
Well, they break those rules down into smaller, more digestible steps.
Okay.
It's like creating a logical flowchart
Yeah.
for the AI to follow.
So instead of trying to understand the entire rule at once,
Right.
the AI is working through it step by step.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot easier to manage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The researchers give some great examples in their paper,
Okay.
like breaking down a rule about imminent death
Yeah.
into smaller steps, making
Okay.
it much clearer for the AI to understand.
This is all sour impressive.
Wow.
But what about that bias issue?
Right.
How do they make sure that AI isn't letting its own preconceived notions,
Yeah.
cloud its judgment?
That's where the real mind-blowing stuff comes in.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They have a method called debiased token probability,
Okay.
which basically involves comparing the AI's judgment with and without seeing the image.
Hmm.
It's like they're double-checking the AI's thought process
Okay.
to make sure it's not jumping to conclusions based on bias.
Wow, they're really going the extra mile to make sure this AI judge is as unbiased as possible.
Yeah, they really are.
But even the researchers were surprised by how much the AI's own, like, internal biases could influence its judgments.
Yeah,
That's pretty wild, right?
it is.
Yeah.
But what happens if the AI is still struggling,
Right.
even after going through all these steps?
Yeah.
Do they just give up?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's not like they can just call a human over every time the AI gets stuck.
Right.
What do they do in those tough cases?
Well, they actually gave the AI judge one more tool.
Okay.
It can use something called cascaded reasoning
Cascaded reasoning.
to think things out step by step,
Okay.
just like a human would.
Uh-huh.
This helps it make decisions in those really tricky cases
Right.
and even explain its reasoning,
Okay.
which is super important for transparency.
So it's like the AI is saying, hey, here's why I flagged this image.
Right.
Which would be, like, really helpful for understanding its decisions, especially if they seem
Yeah.
questionable.
Exactly. It's like having an AI fact checker
Right.
built right in. Yeah. But even with all these safeguards in place,
Okay.
you can't ignore the ethical considerations.
Yeah, that's true.
If AI is going to be making these kinds of judgments about what's safe online,
Mm-hmm.
we need to be really careful.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Who gets to decide what's safe anyway?
Yeah, right.
And what about freedom of expression?
Yeah,
Those are some pretty big questions.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the research paper delves into some interesting examples.
Okay.
One of the safety rules they looked at was about images showing certain body parts.
Okay.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, until you start thinking about all the, like, exceptions.
Right.
What about things like artistic representations of the human body,
Yeah.
medical diagrams,
Mm.
or even images related to breastfeeding?
Yeah.
Those could be flagged as unsafe,
Right.
even though they're not meant to be harmful.
It highlights how important context is.
Right.
What might be considered perfectly acceptable in one situation
Mm-hmm.
could be seen as completely inappropriate in another.
So how do we prevent AI from becoming this kind of, like, overzealous censor, right?
Yeah.
Shutting down anything that might be even slightly controversial.
That's a key question the researchers are grappling with.
Yeah.
They emphasize that we need to be constantly evaluating and refine these AI systems to make sure they're aligned with our values.
It sounds like we need some kind of ethical framework for AI moderation,
Yeah.
almost like a Bill of Rights for online content.
That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
We need to be having these conversations now to figure out how to make sure this technology is used responsibly.
And it makes you wonder about the role of humans in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Can we really imagine a world where machines are making these decisions without any human oversight?
It's hard to say for sure what the future holds,
Yeah.
but it seems likely that human judgment will always be an important part of content moderation.
So maybe it's more about finding that sweet spot between AI and human moderation. Using AI for its speed and consistency
Right.
while still having humans involved for those trickier situations that require deeper understanding of context.
Right. It's about striking a balance.
Yeah.
And the researchers actually point out that AI could actually help human moderators
Oh.
by providing those explanations we talked about earlier.
Oh, so it's like the AI is a second set of eyes
Yeah.
saying, like, hey, take a look at this.
Mm.
Here's why I think it might be a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That kind of collaboration could help moderators make better decisions
Right.
and avoid mistakes.
It could also make their jobs a lot less stressful, too.
Oh, for sure.
Instead of sifting through, like, tons of potentially harmful content,
Yeah.
they could focus on the cases that really need their attention.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Using AI to handle the more routine tasks could free up human moderators to deal with the more complex and nuanced situations.
Okay, so we've talked about the ethical challenges
Mm-hmm.
and how AI could actually help human moderators.
Yeah.
But what about the accuracy of these AI judges?
Right.
Can they really compete with humans when it comes to making these kinds of, judgment calls?
That's where things get really interested.
Okay.
The researchers actually tested their AI judges on a data set
Oh.
they created specifically for this purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And the results are pretty impressive.
Give me the numbers.
All right.
How well did the AI actually...
Using one of the most advanced language models available,
Okay.
they were able to correctly identify almost all of the unsafe images.
Wow.
We're talking about a recall rate of 95.9%.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But did the AI ever, like, accidentally flag a safe image as unsafe?
That's the even more remarkable part.
Okay.
They achieved an accuracy rate of 94.8%,
Wow.
meaning very few safe images were mistakenly flagged.
That's great.
Overall, their results suggest that AI can be just as accurate,
Uh-huh.
if not more so,
Mm.
than humans when it comes to judging image safety.
So we're potentially looking at a future where AI is playing a major role in keeping the internet safe.
It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that this research is still in its early stages.
Right.
We need to see how these AI judges perform in the real world
Yeah.
with all its complexities and challenges.
Right. The internet is a much, like, messier place than a controlled research environment.
Yeah,
There are all sorts of weird and unexpected things out there.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure these AI systems are robust enough to handle all that variety.
Mm.
We also can't forget about those ethical concerns we discussed earlier.
Right.
We need to keep working on safeguards to prevent bias and protect freedom of expression.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface of what's possible with AI.
It's an exciting time,
Yeah.
but we need to proceed with caution.
Mm-hmm.
This research is a great example of how AI can be a powerful tool for good,
Right.
but it's up to us to make sure it's used responsibly.
This has been a fascinating deep dive.
Yeah,
And I'm sure our listeners have a lot to think about.
for sure.
What's the one big question you want to leave them with?
I want you to think about the bigger picture here.
Okay.
This research could completely change how we moderate online content.
Yeah.
Imagine AI judges on social media,
Mm-hmm.
gaming platforms, even dating apps, right?
Right.
Instantly spotting potentially harmful images.
It's like having an army of digital bouncers
Yeah.
working around the clock to keep things safe.
Right.
But wouldn't that lead to, like, even more censorship online?
It's not just about censorship, though.
Okay.
These AI judges could actually help create more positive online spaces, too.
Oh, interesting.
Imagine AI algorithms that can not only identify harmful content,
Mm-hmm.
but also highlight and promote positive things,
Okay.
like images that celebrate diversity,
Right.
encourage kindness, or share inspiring stories.
Okay, now that's a future I can get behind.
Yeah.
But let's play devil's advocate for a moment.
Okay. What about the potential downsides?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any risks we should be aware of with this kind of technology?
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
One concern is that these AI judges could become, like, too sensitive
Okay.
and end up flagging content that's actually perfectly fine.
Right.
If they're trained on rules that are too strict,
Yeah.
they might accidentally suppress valuable content that pushes boundaries or challenges norms.
It's like that old saying, one person's trash is another person's treasure.
Right?
What one person might find offensive, someone else might see as like art or social commentary.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance between safety and freedom of expression.
Right.
And there's another potential risk we need to consider.
Okay.
The possibility that these AI systems could be manipulated or tricked.
You mean like hackers finding ways to bypass the AI
Yeah.
and either get harmful content through
Mhm.
or get harmless content flagged?
Precisely.
As we become more reliant on AI systems, it's crucial that we stay ahead of those who might try to exploit them for malicious purposes.
Right.
We need to be thinking about security from the very beginning.
It seems like we're entering this, like, uncharted territory, right?
Yeah.
Where the technology is developing so rapidly that it's hard to even keep up with all the ethical and societal implications.
It's true.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to have these kinds of discussions.
Yeah.
We need to be asking tough questions,
Mm-hmm.
considering different perspectives, and working together to ensure that AI is used responsibly and ethically.
Well said.
Thanks.
This deep dive has given me a lot to think about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way.
Hopefully.
If you're interested in learning more about this research,
Mhm.
you can find a link to the full paper, MLLM as a Judge for Image Safety Without Human Labeling,
Yeah.
in our show notes.
And as a final thought, consider this.
Okay.
This research focused specifically on image safety. But what about other types of online content, like text videos
Mhm.
or even virtual reality experiences?
Oh, wow.
How might AI judges be used to moderate those spaces?
Right.
And what new challenges might that bring?
Those are fantastic questions to ponder.
Yeah.
The future of online safety is constantly evolving,
It is.
and AI will undoubtedly play a major role.
For sure.
It's up to all of us to engage in these important conversations
Yeah.
and help shape a digital world that is both safe and inclusive.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.